The Adrathias of Rabibibibibibibibibibibin and Tiel. Episode Error.
Okay, listen up, Tiel. I gotta tell you a story. And it's a very interesting story. Can you maybe not? Sorry, I can't do that. Alright, so this is basically the story of why all of this crazy stuff is happening and why also two can turn into a horse. Actually, I don't explain that. That doesn't happen. You don't ever get to understand that at all. It's just kind of a thing. Alright, here we go. So, basically, we all started out on a simple island. It was a very nice island. It was pretty nice. It was good. And there were a bunch of things called, humans, I think they're called? I don't know. But, they're actually pretty strange. You probably don't know what they are. Let me kind of show you an image of what a human looks like. Right there. See? That's exactly what humans look like. Now, basically, it was a pretty good place. There was lots of things. There was a neighborhood on the island. There was a tree house on the island. There was a laboratory on the island. And there was a cave on the island, too. It was all very nice and fun. Until one day, I thought to myself, these humans are the rulers of this small island. So, why can't us birds be the rulers? So I led a peaceful protest somehow before I don't actually know how I did that. But I guess I was just kind of lucky. I mean, I wrote down a sign and everything, but I don't know how to speak. I do know, but I didn't know how to speak or write in English. So I guess I just got really lucky with some scribbles, and it ended up working. So yeah. It's pretty good. Everything is good now because, well, us birds are the rulers. In fact, a very kind human decided to give me sentience. It was very, very nice of him. He even gave me the ability to have vocal cords. And he did that to all of the other birds, too. He did it to a couple of robins, but one of the robins, the runt of the litter, as one might say, was very upset at the fact that he was always cast out. So what he did was he killed the scientist. It was absolutely brutal. Basically, he went from the treehouse to the lab and bloodshed. The scientist was killed. No one even knew his name. He was dead. Robin even stole his arms. Not before shrinking them down and attaching them to his body, of course. He did that with a lot of other birds. He stole birds from the neighborhood and from the treehouse sometimes too, and performed horrible experiments. Right, I forgot to mention how the place was populated. As the ruler, I decided that the neighborhood should be home to exotic birds like me. And the treehouse should be home to all of the boring birds. This isn't discrimination. I'm just saying that this actually works better because these types of birds, the exotic birds, were more akin to being with other humans. And the treehouse was more akin with all of the really boringly colored birds. There was also a cave. I found it one day and I thought, oh, this is cool. But after Robin's whole experimenting thing, everything kind of went terrible. And when I came to visit one day, I saw him in the cave putting a vial into the wall. It was as though the cave was entirely mechanical, like it was built out of something, which is strange, because the cave is part of the island. I started to question whether the island was real or not, but after I did some digging, literally, I actually dug into the floor, found out it must just be the cave that's all robotic and stuff. Once he saw me do that, he trapped me. He caught me and he put me in a cage. Luckily, with this cool pointer thing that I found like a couple years ago when this was all happening, when I was in his lab, I thought to basically grab one of the vials, see if it could help me out. Instead, I grabbed a vial of, well, it's not really omniscience or omnipotence, more that I was just able to see everything when I close my eyes. Like, I can see what I want to see. Like, if I want to see what's happening in the cave, I can do that. So I used that to try to figure out what was going on. And this was horrible. At the time, humans and birds were living in harmony. They were coexisting. And the neighborhood was home to both of them. But one day I saw Robin come out from the lab. He took a quick visit to the treehouse for what he had described to another bird as unfinished business. He actually came in with a sack of arms and then left. I only now know that what he did was horrible. He stitched arms to all of the birds there and forced every possible ancestor, well, not ancestor, but every next generation to have the arms as well. And when he went to the neighborhood, bloodshed. He had killed every single human that was left. They were all dead. I was horrified. And while he was at the neighborhood, he brought home a few cockatiels. I'm not sure why, but I'm not exactly sure why, actually. I have a feeling might have used them to create Tiel, but you never know. For all I know, he might still have them locked up somewhere. But, after he messed around with those, he took the few left, breeded them to create a sort of small colony, and then forced them into slavery. He had erased the minds of the parakeets of his evil doings, and made them believe that cockatiels were less than them. It was horrible. He put them into slavery, and didn't even let any of their kin know what they had gone through. He even erased the memories of the cockatiels, so they didn't even know. It was terrible. One day, he cloned a crow, and a raven, and a vulture. But he cloned them like 3 billion times. I don't exactly know why, but he created a huge flock. He said it had something to do with patrolling the area, but I'm not exactly sure why he needed to do that or why he was afraid. The next day, he had removed all of the cockatoos from the neighborhood. I should probably be showing you pictures right now. Sorry about that. He had removed all of the cockatoos from the neighborhood. and he forced me to watch as he fused them together into one and created two. He looked at me and stared. He thought I would be good to add to the mix, but I managed to escape before he could do that. And there were other cockatoos who were actually left back at the neighborhood. So we went to the cave to hide out. We were all black cockatoos. We called ourselves the Shadow Team. It's kind of a stupid name, but hey, we were young back then. Don't judge us. Maybe I'll call them to help you guys out of those cages. I don't exactly remember how I escaped, actually. It's weird. I felt a sudden surge, like almost a punch. I don't know, it's weird. But, we hung out in the cave, and eventually, the crows and the ravens and the vultures, they're also black and shadowy birds, they decided that they would come to the cave too, because they noticed that we were going there every once in a while. They noticed strange bird-shaped shadows, which were us. So they came into the cave and turned it into they turned it into a nightclub and a day club. They turned it into a club. That's basically it. Also, I am required to say this as to not be demonetized, even though I am not monetized. Do not go to nightclubs. They are bad and do drugs and sadness, and that is not good, so do not do that. I do not endorse it at all. What in the world are you even talking about right now? It's demonetization? What? It's not important to you or me. It's important to the guy up above. What, God? What? No. The guy who's making these videos. Videos? I'm so confused. Oh my gosh. I don't... Look, let's just get back to what I'm doing and stop breaking the fourth wall. Okay. So, the samples were eventually discovered, and the whole flock split it up between everyone somehow. I'm not exactly sure how, but they did. And I don't know what happened. They just kind of started glowing a bit, and there was a big shockwave, and then that was it. Nothing else happened. They didn't even change one bit. They were still the same. It was weird. And, yeah. So, back in the cave, Robin came, and, more bloodshed. Or at least there would have been, if it wasn't for the compromise he made with them. He said that he wouldn't use his newly equipped laser eyes if they helped him stop a threat. The two threat. As I mentioned before, he created two and Tiel, you and two, of course, and he put them in a small shack. I don't have an image of it right now, but he put you guys in a shack, gave you a nice house. But one day, two started having strange ambitions, like becoming a cowboy, becoming a horse, becoming a bird with just basically not being what he is. Also, he turned into a horse and grew arms, which is not the intended purpose of Robin's experiment. Although power to him, he actually managed to get away from all that. Good job, too. Yeah, I kind of wish I was part of you now. Anyways, the flock went over and brought Robin to the house. Also, two can teleport. He snuck in, infiltrated, and eventually used a song to split him up. But not before I could join in. When no one was looking, when no one was even there, when iBot didn't even think to add me into the videos. Who is iBot? It's not important, but when no one was there, I snuck in and I joined them just before the breakup. Because once they break up, their true sentience is released in a huge shock wave. Oh my gosh. That's why he hated them so much, because they found the antidote for fake sentience and gained their true sentience. Ah, it makes sense now. Oh, revelations. Oh, oh man. Okay, revelations aside, I should probably continue telling me my story. Sorry, telling you my... Gosh, I just can't speak today after all these revelations. Did my voice just crack? I thought it was like really old, weird. Huh. Anyways, when I joined you and I was split up, I gained true sentience. But of course I had to hide. So I hid in the snack drawer. I can't remember. Was it the second drawer on the left of the washing machine? Something like that. I can't remember what the note said. Wait, what note? What are you talking about? Nothing. Okay, fine, I'll tell you. I wrote a note to anyone else who was there to come and find me. Because, of course, everyone wants snacks, so I told them where the snacks were. And I wrote a note, and no one came to find me. I waited for a while, but then I noticed a disturbance. I felt a great disturbance in the force. Nope, not in the force. Not that's the wrong thing. I felt a great disturbance in the bird. No, that's worse. What? Forget it. I felt a great disturbance. And so I came to the lab to save you all. Not before being stabbed multiple times by Robin's sharp beak.
Well, isn't that
Yes,
unfortunate?
Quite unfortunate. But don't worry, I'm here to save you now. So, do you mind if I just, take that millet back that I gave you?
Yes, I do mind.
Oh, come on.
Hey!
What? Who said that?
I'm gonna stab you.
Oh, gosh.